Hey, what's up, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. Today I'm doing a real talk for you guys about, I always say this, but a bunch of different things. I was actually gonna do these in like two separate videos, but the more I was thinking about it, the more I was kind of like, I kind of want to like merge everything in one. And I basically just want to talk about like what on earth is going on with modern right now. Like, what is happening? So basically, I want to start at basically like the really, really weird point, like two really weird points that kind of went like hand in hand is Twin got banned. If you like know things about modern and you've been like seeing like the way that modern is shaping, or if you don't know, like basically like the Eldrazi are taking over and like Twin is no longer a thing, and a lot of people are like, man, control decks have just kind of lost their like their thing basically. And I'm in a really weird position right now because I built Grixis Control in December, and Twin got banned in like mid-January, so I had Grixis Control together for like, I'd say like a month, I think, something like that, maybe a little bit for a month. And I was actually thinking about going over to Twin, and the reason why I didn't decide to switch to Twin is because when a lot of people talk about Twin, they're all like, Twin is a combo deck, and I'm like, yeah, it is, but a lot of times what ends up happening is that Twin just comes out in your sideboard, or you lose a lot of your Twin pieces in your sideboard. So, like, you'll have, like, you keep your, like, Deceiver XR and, like, Pestermites and whatever, but, like, you'll take out the Twin combo piece, or pieces of it, because you're just like, oh, I'm gonna kill my opponent with, like, other things. A lot of builds did Grixis, some did Tarmogoyf, a lot did Keranos, like, you know, you have other ways of killing your opponent. So, like, I was all like thinking about going to Twin, and I didn't because I just didn't like how I think that Twin it's weird because it's a combo control deck, because most of the deck is control based. Like, you control the game out until you like have the time to, disrupt your opponent. However, paying attention to the sideboard tech for Twin, everything can stop this deck. It's so easy to stop. Like, I think Red has one of the easiest times with it because you run Rending Volley and they just can't do anything about it. So, like, it's everyone could disrupt the combo. It was so easy to disrupt. So, like, I was kind of like, I didn't see the point to it, because I was like, if I'm just going to sideboard my combo out on a lot of matchups, because you always side it out in basically like the grindy matchup, like not even just like the mirror match, but like a control mirror, you side out your combo. So I don't know, it's just kind of weird. So I was kind of like, I didn't really see the point, and I was like, well, I want to run Tasigur anyway, and I was not about running Grixis Twin. I just wasn't about it. So I decided to build Grixis Control, and like, I'm in such a weird spot because like my entire local game store is like on this Eldrazi flow and on Tron, and like my store right now is basically like Infect, Tron, Eldrazi, and Burn, and that's like it. And I'm one of like the few control decks, and to me I think it's just kind of weird how a lot of people are like, oh, like control is, some people argue that control isn't even as good in modern as aggro, but I think it's weird because I think I'm at like a really weird spot where I don't really know how I fare, because like it's like so many decks like aren't gonna sideboard in as much stuff for control mirrors. Like if you're doing a deck like that has a graveyard interaction, like even a deck like Grixis Delver, you side in like Relic of Progenitus or like Rest in Peace or something like that, and you'll see that in people's sideboards, but I feel like the rest of the sideboard tech is, I feel like, going down for a lot of people for those types of decks because you just don't see them. So I don't really know what's going on with control. I don't know. Like, I've seen a bunch of people go to America Control because a lot of people that I talk to who no longer play Twin are actually switching to variations of other versions of control. I've seen some people do Grixis, some people do Grixis Delver, some people do Grixis Control, Grixis Delver, Jeskai Control, America Control, like, I've seen it. So it's really interesting. And yeah, and this whole Eldrazi deck is, so what happens is like Twin stops being a thing in January, and we just had the Modern Pro Tour, which I actually haven't seen, and I need to. I like watching tournaments. Like, I'm watching Star City Cincinnati right now, so I want to watch the whole thing and then start the Pro Tour. But I mean, I've seen the statistics, I've seen the numbers, like, and that's what I'm going to talk about. Like, I just haven't seen it, but I'm planning on it. And so, like, we had this weird thing where, like, the Eldrazi deck started popping up in, like, I don't remember, like, officially when, but I remember, like, sometime in December, I, like, made a Facebook status, and I was like, wow, it's really weird. I, like, don't go on to, like, MTG Top 8 for, like, 5 days, and I find out that, like, Eldrazi are taking up like 5% of the meta, and then one of my friends commented and said something like, well, it's not 100% of the meta, and that's what really matters. And I like, it was really weird because the deck just kind of came out of nowhere. And then with the recent Modern Pro Tour, which was, I think was it this past weekend or the weekend before? Gosh, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, or like a week and a half ago, whatever. So much of, you know, Eldrazi just exploded. There were so many pros playing it. The top 8 decks were, I think it's 5 out of the 8 decks, and I remember looking at the list, and I was looking at the top 8 list, and I kept seeing Eldrazi, and I was like, wow, are we just focusing on different versions? But then I realized that there were different versions of Eldrazi that are in the Modern Pro Tour, and it's Modern season right now, so like, it's just like crazy. Things are insane. So like, I'm looking at the list right now, which I'll link down below. So we have 1 Eldrazi deck, 2 Eldrazi decks, 3, 4, 5, Affinity. Oh, hey, look, that deck's really sweet. Affinity, yay! 6. Yeah, so 6 out of the top 8s are this new Eldrazi deck, and 2 are Affinity. And people were talking about it, like, we have a Facebook page for like people at my local game store, and people are like, so do you just not play Colors in Modern? And like, the thing is, and the reason why Twin is banned is Twin is not broken. Like, some people will say, like, Twin's broken, Twin's dumb, like, they can just out of the, you know, wherever, like, kill you. I'm like, okay, I understand for new people getting into the format, it's like, Twin's viewed as like, the big bad guy, the big scary monster, everyone's kind of afraid of it, whatever. I got past that point of being afraid of Twin when I realized that you have to, when you play against Twin, you always have to assume that they have it. You like, every turn goes by and you have to be like, okay, cool, like, they tapped out for this, so I can play this. Like, you have to pay attention, and that's like, basically how you get really good at, like, playing against the deck. So, like, or one of the ways to, you know, get really good against the deck. So, like, when people said that they were scared of it, or, like, that the deck was not fair, I didn't agree. It's a 2-part combo, and I understand it, but the amount of disruption that you can run against that deck is, like, insane. Like I said, like, if you're running red, you're running Rending Volley, Path to Exile, Abrupt Decay, like, there's so many solid answers for Twin that a lot of people already have on their main board, so I didn't see, and that's not the issue. The issue wasn't, like, some people would say that, but that wasn't the issue. The reason why Twin was banned is because people were like, Wizards of the Coast was all like, we don't want to see, like, every top 8 list, like, being, oh my gosh, there's so many Twin decks. Meanwhile, let's talk about this top 8 list. 6 out of the top 8 decks are this Eldrazi deck, which it's insane. And so, if you guys have ever heard of Cardboard Crack before, I love Cardboard Crack. I think it's like the greatest thing ever. It's so funny. So like, one of the Cardboard Cracks was, I don't remember what it was talking about. It may have been the Twin ban, I don't remember, but it was like some Wizards of the Coast play was like, no, we need to diversify the format. And then it said, meanwhile in Standard, and then there's these 2 players, and it's like, I play a Siege Rhino, and 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 just basically poking fun of the fact that like Standard is dominated by Siege Rhino. I don't really know anything about Standard, but I know that like basically everyone runs Siege Rhino. So like, it's like weird because like, I look at it how like they're all like, oh man, we need to like diversify the format, and then what happens, but this Eldrazi deck just kind of like comes like out of nowhere. I'm like, that's not like their fault. Like, it's not Wizards of the Coast's fault. It's not them being like, oh man, like this deck just like came out and we did this on purpose. Like, it wasn't like that. It was a really weird coincidental thing, I think, because of the banning of Twin, and people were like, huh, what deck do I go to? And a lot of people right now are on really weird like plans because, again, some people went to the more control builds, but you're not seeing that popping up a lot. Like, I'm looking at this one like thing, I don't even remember where, I have so many tabs open right now. If I ever have more than like 5 tabs open, something is like, I hate having more than like 5 tabs open. It drives me insane. Man, where was this thing? Oh, here it is. Okay, cool. So basically it's like going through like top decks basically, and like tier 1, tier 2 and stuff like that, and I'm at the list, and I'm kind of surprised that Grixis Control actually isn't on there. I saw America Control, and I am like, okay, you know, you're on Path to Exile, and like, you know, whatever, but I don't know, I honestly prefer the black for like Tasigur and the hand disruption. That's just me, but yeah, I don't know, it's really interesting. I'll link, like, I'll have like all these linked down below if you want to check them out, but I don't know, it's really interesting. It's looking at like, as of 2/13, which was 2 days ago, it's basically talking about like the top decks that are right now in the format. The Eldrazi is number 1, Affinity is number 2, and what's really, really interesting, and this is like kind of the other video topic that I was going to talk about, but I just had to talk about it here, is like, Modern's weird because like, everyone's all like, oh my gosh, this deck is so good, we need to find ways to beat it. So then everyone like has like sideboard attack, main board answers for it, and then the deck is like, oh man, like, you talk to Tron players and they're all like, yeah, it's crumbled to dust, like, what do I do? Like, you know, or like Blood Moon or something. So like, it's really weird, and like, that's the thing, is like, these decks like, that we have, like, battle against like other decks, and like the matchups are weird, and like this is so weird to me that like when people talk about things, they'll be like, I always hear in Modern it's always well, that's just a bad matchup. Like that's, and it's so weird because I look at it where I'm just like, it's never like I can sit down for a game of Magic anymore, like not anymore, but like it's not that like I can sit down for a game of Magic and be like, huh, I have no idea how this game's gonna go. It's like, oh man, I'm playing against this deck, well, I'm probably gonna lose. And like, I always think that that's really weird, and I don't know if there's a way to like fix it, but like, I just, like, don't know if I like that. Like, I don't like that whole thing, like, oh, why did you lose? Like, yeah, let's be real here. Like, there's so many reasons for that. Like, when someone asks you, like, why you lose, it's like saying, like, oh, it's just a bad matchup. I mean, I actually think I talked about this, too, on, like, a different video. I don't remember. But I was talking about, like, you know, when you use, like, that as an excuse, like, is that considered, like, a legitimate, valid excuse? I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's some matchups that, let's just be real here, like, you sit down, you know you're gonna lose. Like, there's really not a good chance of, like, you winning. And I don't know, I think that's weird. Like, and that's one of the reasons why, and I've been, like, thinking about this a lot recently about, like, mid-range decks in particular, and how like I think that I'm hoping that mid-range decks kind of make like a comeback. Like I'm hoping that Abzan gets more attention because Abzan's really good against the Eldrazi decks, what I've heard, and like I'm really hoping that more decks like a lot of people, and like I was talking to Ginger about this, and he was like, oh yeah, a lot of people like when they think of mid-range they'll just go to Jund, but like I don't know, Abzan's still really sweet, and like I like both of them. I don't know if one's better than the other. A lot of people would argue that Jund is better than Abzan, but like again, I don't really like comparing. Like I don't like putting decks on like, hey, this deck is better than this deck. To me, I just think that's weird. Like, and a lot of it too is like, you know, and I was talking to like a friend about like brewing decks, and I was like, well, the thing is that there are some decks that could be honestly so good, but no one plays them because everyone's scared of them because they're all like, oh, well, this deck is incredible, so it's probably not good. And that like doesn't, no, that shouldn't mean that. Just like the reason that these decks are like good is because like a lot of people play them a lot and they're like reputable and they're really popular, but like, you know, I don't know, it's just, and that's why like I think of that, like I said, I'm in a really weird spot because I'm playing Grixis Control, and like I don't know like I don't know what's going on with this anymore. Like, I don't, like, should I play this deck? Like, I don't know. And, like, part of me is, like, I kind of want to go to Affinity. Like, there's some decks that, like, I know I won't play. And, like, I kind of want to go to Affinity because I just think the deck is sweet, and I've always really liked Affinity. So, I don't know, man. It's weird right now. Things are, like, really strange. I mean, maybe this happens, like, frequently, but, like, I wasn't playing Modern then, so, like, I have, like, no idea. But, I don't know. I just, like, the whole just like decks like dominating and like getting a lot of attention and everything, and like, you know, I prefer it to be more of like a diverse instead of like a this is the number one deck. And like I just think that there's so much that goes into that goes into like really, really good decks than just like, oh, this is the number one deck in the format. And like I've said that, like, oh, like, you know, there's no, Modern's not at a spot like that, and I don't know if the format like will ever get like that. I'm not really sure. I just, what I don't want to happen is I don't want like everyone to just drop everything and just play like one deck, because again, there's no like diversity in that. There's like, it's like you sit down in a match and you're all like, oh yeah, you're on the same deck I am, and then it's like mirror matches galore, and that just sounds awful. Like that just sounds like the worst thing ever. Like I'm even picturing like Lantern Control mirror matches. That must seem like actually like the worst thing ever. That, I don't even want to think about that. That makes me yeah, so I don't know, like I said, I think that like what I'm hoping is that a lot of people will, maybe it's just like a lot of people say it's a fad, like, oh, the Eldrazi deck will just kind of like go away. I don't know, like it's good, and I like it's a good deck. Like I really like the deck a lot, and I've seen a couple of variations of it. I kind of like the black because I like the hand disruption, but I don't really know. I haven't really officially decided. It's definitely a really good deck, and I think like the weird thing about it is like it's some weird variation of Tron because it does like kind of sort of similar things to it, but like a lot of people are like, oh, Tron just gets wrecked by Blood Moon or Fulminator Mage and, you know, Crumble the Dust and whatever, and, you know, this deck doesn't really do that, so I don't know, I kind of just want, like, I'm hoping that mid-range decks kind of make a comeback. I'm waiting for the control deck of the format to kind of be a thing, maybe, if we get that again. I don't really know, like, you know, and it's so hard to say. It's so hard to be like, oh yeah, like, this is what's gonna happen, because you've no idea, like, what decks people are gonna pick up, so it's just, you know. And like I said, I think too, and one thing that a lot of people knew was with the rise of, I'm sorry, what deck is that? With Twin no longer being a thing, a lot of people were like, there's gonna be a lot of Tron, so to combat Tron, there'll be a lot of Infect and a lot of Burn. And Affinity has just always been good. It's been positioned so well. Absint's really positioned well right now. All those decks are definitely really well positioned. I have no idea how I fare, so we're kind of gonna see. Because, like, I'll look at, like, looking at the top decks, I have no idea how the Eldrazi matchup is supposed to go. I think I've played it, like, twice. I have no idea. The point in this video where I stop making sense and then I start repeating myself, so I think I'm gonna, like, leave things off, like, basically there. But, yeah, like I said, I'll link things down below. I can't find the, I'm really bummed. This link is not working and I don't know why, but, I'm gonna try to get, oh, I didn't actually even talk about this. You know, it's fine. I'll link it down below. It's just a percentage breakdown on basically, like, what decks were popular in the Oath of the Gatewatch Pro Tour. So it's just what that is. But yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, that's basically it. I'll link all these things down below, and, oh my gosh, what did I do? I'm really bad with technology. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. Like, let me know, like, especially, like, with your local game stores, like, what's going on? What are people on right now? Like, you know, I don't know, man. Everyone's all like, I'm gonna cast all this other stuff, and I'm like, I still want to cast Snapcaster Mage. I don't know. It seems really sweet. So, you know, we'll kind of see. Like, we'll see what, you know, what things happen. Modern's really weird right now. I don't know what's going on. So, okay, I'm going to, like, 2 upcoming tournaments actually. So, like, again, I have no idea. Like, I could be, like, all millions of rounds I play, or just all, like, Eldrazi deck. I just have no idea how it's gonna go. So, I have to make a sideboard plan for that. That's actually really good that I thought of that. So, yeah, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later, beautiful jellyfish. Bye.